don't buy a Mac for programming or cybersecurity? What's up, Ryan? Why? Let's find out.
Should you buy a Mac for learning programming or cybersecurity? So from all of my videos about the weapons used during the Iranian protests, I've established a pretty extensive network of students across Iran. And one of them wrote me and told me how he saved up for 7 years to buy a computer for college, and he wasn't sure if he wanted.
That is commitment. Saving up 7 years for a computer? Woof. I would not spend 7 years of my life savings on a Mac. Let's be real, I would get probably a Linux box or a Windows machine. Yeah, easy.
Wanted a Mac or a Windows machine to study computer science. Now, first of all, Apple actually isn't allowed to sell products in Iran, but they get them anyway, imported in through Turkey or Qatar. And they even have these fake Apple stores selling real Apple products. And I thought about this. This Iranian dude saved up for 7 freaking years so he wouldn't have to sit in the school's computer lab. You know, Iran has some great engineers.
That is commitment right there. That's such if you're dedicated and you want to make things happen, and maybe you don't have the money to do everything, go to your local library, use their computers. That's dedication. That is taking your life into your own hands, not making excuses and making change. That's really cool.
And it's because of kids like this who never stop striving. So Amir, this one's for you, but maybe it'll benefit some others that are watching. But first, let me tell you about this week's sponsor, Atlas VPN. Atlas VPN is having a big deal right now with pricing that's only $1.83 a month with 3 months extra and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Click the link in the description below. I've had people reach out to me requesting that I suggest them a VPN. I've always suggested Atlas VPN because it's what I...
VPNs, they are not all the same. Do your research, but absolutely, if you want some level of anonymity on the internet, VPN is a great level 1 first line of protection. You're going to want some others, but you got to have it.
I personally use when I travel or when I do research on Russia, China, or Iran because I can get around IP address restrictions from those countries.
That's the other benefit of some VPNs. Not all VPNs do this, is they can change your location. A lot of people like to do this for Netflix, right? Maybe there's some shows that are not available in the United States, so you have to show that you're, in Germany or Australia or vice versa to get access to certain resources. Same could also be true in cybersecurity for researching. You need to show that your IP is from certain locations, and not all VPNs do this. So do your research on that front. One of the biggest things I would say with VPNs is whether or not, what do they do with my data? Do they collect it? Do they sell it? Honestly, if they collect it, that's not a great sign, and most of them do. Most of them collect those logs.
And it's super easy to use. Select a country of origin, click this button, and you are protected. Atlas VPN acts as a tunnel between your computer and the public internet that hackers and rogue government agents can't penetrate. So click the link in the description below to take advantage of Atlas VPN for $1.83 a month with 3 months extra and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Thanks for sticking with me. So should you buy a Mac for school if you're interested in cybersecurity or programming? So, full disclosure, I own 4 computers. An older MacBook Pro, an Intel NUC, a Microsoft Surface 5, I think, and a Chromebook. And you might laugh when I can't remember the name of the model of Microsoft Surface, but one of the important things to remember when embarking on a tech career is that the hardware doesn't really matter all that much.
This is a good point in terms of when he first said, I have 4 computers, I was like, wow, that's okay. Tell me you're rich without telling me you're rich, right? It's true. I never throw a laptop away. The only time I would throw it away is I'm taking out the hard drive and I am destroying that bad boy. And even then, most older laptops can serve a purpose. They can serve an absolutely good purpose. Install Linux on there and get some cool applications up and running. You can do really cool projects even with 10-year-old laptops.
My computer could die tomorrow, and since I have everything backed up in the cloud, I'm golden. Yeah, it would suck to reinstall everything, but it's the data that's important, not the hardware. I do most of my work on an Intel NUC, and I guess that's because it has 32 megabytes of RAM. I'm not into playing games. I'm into standing up multiple virtual machines and working with them.
Hopefully
I also
gigs.
have tens of tabs open at any given time when I do research for things like videos. Chrome eats up memory like I eat up cake, so I usually advise programmers or people who want to get into programming or cybersecurity get a...
Okay. Ridiculously true. You're going to have, so you'll see setups of people with like 6 monitors, and you're like, that's overkill. Currently I have 3, and 3 is not enough. 3 is not enough because I'm constantly having to switch what's on each window, or I have to like divide, you know, on the left side of this window, right side of that window, and then I don't get the full pain of it. I wish I had 6 because there are so many tabs that you need, so many programs you need open, so much data you want to watch and monitor, and it's like, if you even want to dream about having Netflix on one screen, forget about it. You need 6 to have like one free one that's open to even bother having for fun. One day I'll learn how to click.
as much RAM as possible. That way you can have a lot of Chrome tabs open for research and run multiple VMs. Now, I bought a MacBook a few years ago when I was doing some iOS development, and if you're going to do iOS development you want to deploy to the Apple Store, you need a MacBook. But right now it just kind of sits on my shelf unused. I mainly use my Microsoft Surface when I'm lounging around on the couch or when I go on trips. It's thinner and lighter than my Mac, and the battery lasts long. And my Chromebook, well, I keep it in my Tesla so I can sit and write scripts while I charge my car. So that being said, I have a pretty wide range of computers to pick from with multiple operating systems, yet I
Choose the piece of hardware to match the task is what he's really getting at. Is there are some hardware is required for certain tasks. If you are an iOS developer, you want to develop something for the App Store, obviously you need a Mac. But particularly for cybersecurity, unless you're doing malware analysis for Apple machines, for iOS type products, iPad, something like that, don't really need it. It's overkill.
always seem to use my Intel NUC or my Surface. And the real answer to all of this is when you're looking for a computer for school or to learn how to program or do cybersecurity, look at capability. I can do everything I need to do on an expensive desktop and a cheaper laptop. Now, for me, when I do programming, like I said, I've used a lot of virtual machines, and I use Microsoft's Hyper-V because it's super easy to use.
So Hyper-V and Oracle Box, being able to spin up operating systems, virtual hosts on your computer is awesome. It is so nice. It's so easy being able to spin them up, spin them down, delete them, recreate them. Super nice and easy. But like you said, also having a backup, just an old laptop where you can do things where you really want to make sure there's no possibility. So like for instance, if you're going to do reverse malware analysis, you probably don't want to do that on your, it's likely going to be safe in a VM. Likely, as long as you configure it correctly. But do you want to take that chance? If you're going to be deploying some ransomware to test it out, do you really want to take that chance on your main system? So yeah, having 32 gigs of RAM so you can have a few VMs and, you know, all 20 Chrome tabs, absolutely. But don't discount keeping an old laptop to doing certain projects. You don't need a super beefy, 16 gig laptop to do anything. Sometimes 4, 8 gigs, awesome. You're good to go.
If I want a Linux VM or a Windows VM, I can get one spinning up in a couple of clicks. Now, if you want to develop client-server applications or a web application with a backend database, you can have one running in under an hour with a few clicks using Hyper-V. And with Mac, you do have VM technology. There's Parallels, which you have to pay for, or you can use OpenBox, which isn't as easy to use as Microsoft's Hyper-V. Do you want to pay an extra $120 a year for Parallels for something you can already do for free on Windows PC as long as you have the Pro Edition? Again, you could use...
So to use Hyper-V effectively, you need the Pro Edition. There are some workarounds, I believe, on GitHub where you can like cheat and get it to work. But Oracle Box, if you want to spin up VMs, absolutely free for Windows, you're good to go. You're not paying $120 you can spin up VMs for side projects. If this is not An enterprise solution? Get out of here. I'm just paying $120 a year.
Use OpenBox, but that's kind of where the shine and luster start coming off a Mac. Everything on a Mac is either trivial to do or costs $200 to $500 more than you want to spend. And if you're getting a computer for a class and you're buying it for its capabilities, are the capabilities you get from a Mac really worth the extra money you're going to spend? Okay, so most computer science or cybersecurity students are either going to be taking notes, doing homework, writing software, writing scripts, standing up VMs to either harden or use as servers for applications. The Mac really doesn't give you any extra advantages in that capability. In fact, the only place where it really excels is iOS programming, and that's because you need a Mac for that.
The other place it excels is like this whole prestige. I gotta be super cool. I gotta show that I'm rich and wealthy and hip. So I gotta have the coolest operating system. Don't care about that at all. At all. Personally, I don't. But at one point when I was in college, I did, and I got a Mac so I could be, cool hipster. It gave me no benefits over a Windows machine.
And the other thing I want to talk about is multiple monitors. This is my monitor setup. This monitor below alone costs about $900. And I usually have my email in one window and Slack in a second, and my main programming tasks below in the main monitor. Well, for that extra $200 or $500 you're spending on a single screen Mac, you can get a multiple monitor setup. And while the display on a MacBook is amazing, a larger monitor will make you more productive. So here's what I would do.
So that's if you're going to be hooking up your laptop to like a docking station and get multiple monitors. So for me, I have a dedicated desktop. I have a work laptop, so I can do either. I can switch in for my desktop. I can plug in my work laptop. So having monitors is nice. But I mean, this is, you can apply this logic to almost anything Mac, right? Mac just costs more for what you could get in Windows for less. In terms of computing power, in terms of hardware, in terms of capability, you get more with Windows for less. Yes, it's not as user-friendly, yes, it's not as hip, but it's absolutely not necessary unless you're in a very niche portion of security.
Don't go buy a Mac laptop, but don't go buy a PC laptop either. Instead, buy a good PC desktop with multiple monitor support and at least one extra monitor. Most of the time, you're going to be coding or doing work at your desk. You will always get more.
So that's only true. The coding part is going to be true for computer science degrees, not necessarily cybersecurity. In terms of, I mean, there's so many niches within cybersecurity that some of them are absolutely heavily programming focused, coding focused. Many of them are not. Many of them don't touch coding at all or only do so minimally, maybe at the scripting level where you could just use Notepad++. You're not spinning up servers and databases and doing back-end configurations. You're just making some automation.
Productivity and dollar value out of the desktop. Then go buy a cheap $200 Chromebook for taking notes in class or during reports or browsing the web. If you really need to use your main desktop, use Chrome Remote Desktop to remote over your school's internet back to your desktop computer. If you're away from campus, tether your phone. That's what I do when I'm sitting in my car. I can access my home computer and all of its power from a little Chromebook that I care so little about that I leave it in the trunk of my car. So
he does not live in San Francisco. Clearly he doesn't live in San Francisco. You would never leave anything in your car there. Unless you don't want to keep it, right? If you want to just give it away, then you do that there. If you can't tell, I'm a California refugee, right? I escaped California into Texas. Freedom, let's go. But that like what a great insight into who cares what your laptop looks like. You just RDP into your much beefier home setup and get all the computing power there. That's awesome. Last time I did that, I think was for gaming. I just wanted to play games. So I did that on I want to say my phone, like Black Desert Online, something stupid like that, many moons ago. But How smart. You can leverage, you don't need all beefy systems everywhere. Just leverage your one beefy system by remoting in.
The real answer to this question is, unless you intend to do iOS development, definitely don't buy a Mac laptop. You'd be better off with getting a Windows desktop and a small Chromebook that you don't care about and an extra monitor than you would be just getting a Mac laptop. Thank you for watching.
Super agree. Super agree. Thanks, Ryan. Great video. Don't waste your money on Mac. Some people love Mac, right? Your home ecosystem is all Mac. You got the Apple Watch, you got the iPhone, and I get it. You have the cash, you have the funds. Get the Mac laptop. It's all right. It's your money, right? You can do what you want. But in terms of affordability and saving money, honestly, even Linux can be a fantastic way to go if you get a really old laptop that isn't quite up to the task, or maybe used to run Windows 7. Just throw Linux on there. Learn Linux, absolutely free operating system. You get to, it's like two birds with one stone. You get to learn Linux, which is a necessary skill in security, and you get to reuse some of your old hardware. Absolutely phenomenal. Thank you for joining me. Thanks, Ryan, for the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.